Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to continue our study of the Great Depression with a focus on the New Deal and not Mr. President Roosevelt, but today we are going to be discussing First Lady Mrs. Roosevelt just a little bit. In the years following the president's entrance into office in 1932, Mrs. Roosevelt, the First Lady, received thousands and thousands of pieces of mail. And those letters were handwritten. They did not have the internet, and most would not have even had a typewriter. Some of those letters were typed, but most of them were handwritten from the young people and the children here in America. And they wrote her in hopes that she would fulfill requests of theirs. Some children asked for money, and some children ask for bicycles and clothing and books and tuition money to go to college. And some children ask for Christmas presents like dolls and toys. And they, of course, told her why they wanted what they were asking from her. And she did not fulfill any of those request from those children, but what she did was she worked on a larger scale to help every child, and she worked with her husband with those New Deal programs. And of course, we know that they put Americans back to work, and if your parent is working, then they're making money, and you should be benefiting from the money that they're making and their employment. So she also helped to create some programs that specifically helped children and their needs. And she had a secretary. There's a book, I'm not sure if it's in our library, but it's called Dear Mrs. Roosevelt, and it tells the story of the letters from the children during the Great Depression to her. But she had a secretary, and the secretary would go through the mail every day, and she would pull multiple letters, and she would meet with First Lady Roosevelt, and together they would read the letters, and Mrs. Roosevelt would dictate. In other words, she would tell the secretary what she wanted the reply to say, and those children actually got letters back from Mrs. Roosevelt. Not everyone got a letter back, but some did, and that was part of her daily routine. So what you're going to do today is the first thing you're going to do is go and take the New Deal Ed Puzzle. And in order to do that, when you click on this link from our notebook, it takes you to Miss Kay's Ed Puzzle page. Do not take Miss Kay's. It will say Julie Crickledorf in the top left corner under the title to the video. You have to log in the top right corner to your Ed Puzzle account. You're going to log in through your Gmail. And from there, if you click on My Classes in the top right corner, then on the left, you will pick your U.S. history class, and the New Deal video will show up for you. It will say Melinda Sprinkle underneath the video title. That's the one that you take, okay? That is for a grade, so do your best on that. And when you get through, you're going to come back to this slide, refresh your memory on the directions, and you are going to create a letter to Mrs. Roosevelt, like the ones the children actually wrote in the 30s. So it was believed that Mrs. Roosevelt had a sympathetic ear to American children. There are examples. So she cared a lot about what happened to the children. So you can click on this link, and it will open up a new window, and it will give you some facts about the Depression. And you can actually click on some of these letters. Here's a 10-year-old from Ohio, a female, and she's asking for assistance. You can see clothes, $8 for a winter coat, asking for a loan for $100. So go through and look at some of these letters and open them up, and you can see what the letters say. Some of them are longer than others. Okay. Then your assignment will be completed on slide 18. You're going to pretend that you're a child of the Great Depression. You're going to write a one-page letter to First Lady Mrs. Roosevelt about your needs and your wants. When you write your letter to Mrs. Roosevelt, you want to include all of these items, okay? You want to include an introduction. You want to introduce yourself and tell where you live. So you might say Forest, Virginia. And then you would say, Dear Mrs. Roosevelt. You want to have a date. I would include a date in the mid to late 1930s. So do not pick 1931, for example, because President Roosevelt hasn't even been elected. He wasn't elected until 1932, and the New Deal programs did not start until 1933. Okay? You want to tell what your hardship is and how what you're requesting will help your family. What's causing the hardship? You know, has your father lost his job, and that's caused your family to lose their home? Are you living on a farm? Okay, and the farmers are experiencing extremely low sales and low pay. Okay, so you want to actually make your request. Ask Mrs. Roosevelt for something that will help make your hardship better, or something that you've really desired to have and you've been unable to get. Okay, then you want to have a conclusion. Your conclusion should be positive and thankful for any help that she could provide. And remember to include a closing. Like you might say, I hope to hear from you soon, and add a comma, and then on the next line put your name. Or you might say, respectfully yours, put a comma, and then put your name. Okay? So if you go to the next slide, this is where you will put your letter. You do not need to make it longer than what you can fit on one page, but make sure that you follow the directions here for your assignment so that it is complete.